remember what book is? To book you? They need to book you badly. It's absolutely necessary that they get you booked. Otherwise, you haven't been charged. How are they going to take you before the judge? They might take you to the judge very first thing, too. That's possible. A bound volume consisting of sheets of paper. That's what we know what a book is, right? That makes sense. Booking at a police station, though, is a little different. Administrative step taken after an arrested person is brought to the police station, which involves entry of the person's name, the crime for which the arrest was made, and other relevant facts on the police blotter, in which may also include photographing, fingerprinting, and the like. Webster's has it a little bit different. Now, there in book, they don't have anything but bound and this and that and the other thing, but Webster's has book entirely different. Not only the standard situations, but to record charges against on a police record.
So if they take you straight before the judge, could you ask, Your Honor?
Well, they're going to need your name. Think about it. What are they going to do without your name? They need your name. So you're going to have good cop, bad cop, and say, just, what's your name, man? Come on.
Can you use the verse in the Bible where it says we don't even know our real name and we won't be given that until...
Would that be a statement, or am I going to ask a question?
Well, I think you can turn every statement into...
Well, you got lots of names, so I mean, what do they want
when
one
they
for?
say your real name. Well, I don't know my real name, but I'm not going to say it that way. Is it not true that I don't know my real name?
No, that's like, not going to... That the question should go to resolve the matter. Otherwise, we could just counteroffers why or by what authority over and over and over. Yes, you can. To a great degree, you actually can. But you really need to try and resolve it. But nonetheless, it's effective. And in resolving it, we need your name. And why do you need my name? There it is. Why? Why do you need my name? Because that's the business of the court. And what business does this court have with me? Well, your neighbor said you were out naked in the backyard and their kids saw you. And you're being charged with indecent exposure. I conditionally accept your offer. Upon proof of claim that you have the authority to tell me how to dress in my backyard. Or a myriad of things.
So you're just deflecting. You're
That's all
the
you're
king.
doing. You're just going to continue to deflect. He's not getting any questions answered from me except with questions. I want to try and have resolution of it. I want to try and make it apropos to the situation.
And to you, would resolution be an acknowledgement on their part that they do not have jurisdiction over it?
Well, they don't have jurisdiction until I give it. That's a fact.
That's what I'm saying, though. Is that resolution enough? That's the resolution you're looking for.
Yeah, they're apt to toss you in, if it's for some major crime deal, they're apt to throw you in a cell for up to 72 hours to see if they can hold you, soften you up a little bit. A lot of people kind of give up right after a little bit. They say, it didn't work, and they just give up instead of holding their mud.
Are you allowed the phone call?
I don't care if we make a phone call, or I'm not going to ask them for anything.
No, are you allowed a phone call?
Yeah, you're allowed a phone call.
Is that a
Isn't that a
benefit?
benefit?
Well, see, I wouldn't ask for a phone because I'm afraid it might be a benefit. They deliver to me if I were to go in, and I have done in times where they'll give you a mattress and some sack lunch and some food. I don't accept anything.
So
Because I don't want to have it misconstrued as I'm accepting a benefit, but there's some rules about necessities. They can't deny you necessities. Necessities would be food and that kind of stuff.
So those wouldn't be
How
considered a benefit.
So it almost wouldn't be considered a benefit because I'm a little blurred on those lines. I just don't accept anything.
how would we let somebody on the outside know we're here? Like, we need Gordon. Where are you?
Well, I'm not going to be able to do anything for you there. You're going to do it all for yourself.
But
You're gonna,
I mean, at least to
yeah, but they're going
get some counseling.
Yeah, but they're not going to be able to do anything with you. I'm not even going to be able to get. They can't do anything with you.
Oh.
They don't have a name. They haven't booked you. They don't have a fingerprint.
Play this out then. You spent the 72 hours in court and nothing has come back.
Well, you're going to hold me, and I'm already going to be telling you have a bona fide claim against me. Well, we have a report that you were part of a burglary ring, blah, blah, blah. I conditionally accept your offer upon presentation of a bona fide claim subscribed on the undersigned unlimited commercial liability. Do you got the claim or don't you?
Could you say
And if
that
you-
again? You just-
I conditionally accept your offer upon presentation of a bona fide claim subscribed on the undersigned unlimited commercial
What
liability.
was that last time? I mean, subscribe.
Yeah, but that-
Right.
By you signing it as true, correct, complete, not misleading, and you're going to guarantee that this is true.
Subscribe on the undersigned, they being the undersigned.
They being the undersigns,
They're taking full
unlimited
liability.
commercial liability. You take liability for this false arrest. And that price is $1 million United States dollars.
That's something they even do.
Well, they're just going to blow by it and try and do this, but, because most people give up, or they finally give in. Well, I had to give it anyway. They're going to just take it. Like I told you, they'll say, get over here. If you walk over and they give me a hand, if you walked over, you got a problem. Remember the story I told you about the weight belt?
Right.
Okay. One time I was at Terminal Island, and the guy said, "Oh man, Hall, hide your weight belt, big leather weight belt," because the guards are taking the weight belts. I told you their job is to continually harass and roust the cattle, right? So, what's been perfectly legitimate and legal there for years, and it's your private property, all of a sudden they start taking everybody's weight belt. Probably 20, 30 of them on the compound. So us guys that have them want to keep them, and all of a sudden they're taking them. So the guys are saying, hide your belt, Gordon. And I said, don't worry about it. And pretty soon the guard comes by one day that's been collecting them, and he says, hey, you. And the long and the short, we get into things. He says, give me that belt. And I say, by what authority? And he says, well, could you come in here and talk to me? And we go into a little work area there, and there's a bench sitting there. And so I've got my weight belt in this nylon net laundry bag. And I set it on the table between us. And he says, give me that belt. And I said, it's right there. Take it. $10,000. He says, I'm giving you an order. Give me that belt. I says, it's right there. Take it. They need you to hand your stuff over. It's even in prison. It's the most interesting thing to see. The long and the short was, we got a little verbal thing back and forth, and he said, do I need to call the warden? I said, what do I need you to call the warden for? He says, do you know the Zimmer law? It's an old law where you couldn't have all this stuff, no weights, no movies in the prisons, none of that. It was just a rider on the thing. It fell off years ago. They just want an argument. I said, what care I the Zimmer law? So pretty soon he says, come with me. And he just starts walking and goes around to his office that's, around this big bench. And he looks back, and I hadn't moved. He goes, what's wrong with you? Get over here. I says, by what authority? He goes, would you please come over here? I said, in that case, yes. And I walked on over. And when I got over there, he gets on his, we go in his little office, and he gets on his computer, and like he's going to pull it up pretty soon, he turns and goes, would you just wear your weight belt under your T-shirt when you're out on the pile? I said, sure. I walked out of there with my weight belt. They need you to give up your stuff, give up your rights, give up your fingerprints. So if I take him, and I've got him hauled over here, the fingerprint thing, Put your hand up here. I just told you to put your hand up here. You refusing?
Why do I have to put my hand?
Because I told you did. That's why.
On what authority?
On my authority. Now put your hand up there. Give me your hand.
Do I have to give you?
Yes,
my
you
hand?
do.
Under what authority?
That's good.
I conditionally accept your offer upon presentation of a bona fide claim. That'll be a standard one you use all the time.
Okay.
Conditionally accept your offer upon presentation of a bona fide
Are
claim.
you pulling back? This will get you jacked. When I grab that hand, just relax. Let them put it on here. And that's what they do. Don't worry about it. Don't pull back. Don't struggle. But if they grab it, just, and don't give them any hassle. Now,
The issue is not.
Now go
so I might do this. I'll
Take
do
a
this.
picture.
And get your ass up against that wall so I can get a picture.
The issue is not the
Put your
fingerprints,
hand
right? The issue is whether you resist.
Now get up against the wall and you get your picture.
Under what authority do I have to get over there and get up
I just
against the
told you
wall?
you do.
I conditionally accept your offer upon presentation of
There
a
you
bona
go.
fide claim. Under, blah blah.
Jeez. What am I going to do with these guys? Look at
Go
him.
smile. Close your eyes.
Turn your head.
This is what I do.
Hey, Dan.
You do it, I go like this. They're like this. On the sides, when they're on the sides of them, they go like this.
Yeah.
Let your head go. When a guy did, he put my head up, I put it up, but I keep my eyes shut. As soon as his hands go down, I go like this. Then pretty soon they got to grab a hair and they got like this, and I go like that. So this can save your life. So if you think, what the frick's wrong with you, man? Get over here. And walk over. Let him put you where he wants the picture. Just put your head down. Put your head up, man. Get over there. Now bow your head and stuff like that. Bow your head. Get your head up, man. What door is he going through?
Silence.
Silence.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Oh.
Be careful.
Wow.
That's door 3, dishonor.
Oh,
Could get you jacked up.
God damn it.
Yes.
So,
I told you. What did I tell you? Everything's an offer.
So hard to
And you
Isn't it?
have 4 doors.
so what should he do now?
I mean,
I conditionally accept your offer upon presentation.
That's what I do. I conditionally accept your offer upon presentation of bona fide claim. I had them one time. They did that. So, and I couldn't get it. They had like 9 guards, and then pretty soon we're going out of there. And I got my head down, and they got a camera, and they're doing like this when we're walking me to an elevator. So I can keep my eyes shut and walk them blind, It's a kick.
Man.
We gotta. I want to do some movie rights. We got to do a story of your life, and we'll all be rich.
But this is critical to back up against the wall. Going up front. Okay. Heads down, eyes shut. Pick your head up, man.
I conditionally accept your offer upon presentation of a bona fide claim.
Tongue out.
Stick your tongue out. Yeah. He's gonna. See, he doesn't pull away. Don't make it hard. Just let the head come up. I'm just not giving him any picture. And they'll surround you like 8 or 9 guards. And it's like when they had me, I got my hands behind. Come over here. You're a guard on the side. Put an arm length holding me. Put an arm inside my arm.
That's up.
Yeah. I got my thing, and so I got 2 guards, and I'm like this, and so
Weighing them down.
I'm just gently putting some weight on their arms, so that they can't. They're sitting here trying to hold you up and put a hand on here.
Oh.
It's kind of cool. So I just I don't drag on them. I just kind of gently put, some 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds of weight, whatever I think they didn't, just, pulling that crap on them. Just a little bit so that they can't focus while they're just holding me still. I got to kind of hold up. It's kind of a neat little struggle.
And sometimes you see sort of passive resistance where guys are being dragged. Is that-
You don't have to drag me
is that
anywhere.
resisting?
That officer puts his hand on me, I walk right with him.
So what door am I going through if I'm just dragging? I'm going through some silence?
No. If he's going to put your hand on you, it's not that. I'm not going to say, you can't pull back, you can't fight.
But
You
I
can't-
can be dragged.
Well, if he's
Guided.
got an arm on you, he's not dragging you. He's
Guided.
just hanging. I always walk with him. The minute the hand comes off, I stop.
So if they're being dragged, it's argument, actually.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
resisting.
yeah, I wondered what you
You're
are.
resisting because
You're
not being able to
cooperating
do
when
it.
you walk.
Cooperate.
Kind of.
Yeah.
See, there's no reason for them to get rough with me. Get over here. By what authority? I condition accept your come on over there, but you got a bona fide claim that requires me to.
I would
Let me get loose with it. You're pretty soon you get these. How bad I'd love to. You got a claim? You got a bona fide claim that requires me to? Why? By what authority? Yeah, I might try all sorts of different stuff with them. Do you have a bona fide claim against me? There's another one. Get over here. Do you have a bona fide claim against me? No. Do you know anyone here who has a bona fide? I got thrown in a little cell one time at an R&D place, and the officer goes, one of them comes in, now what's this all about? I says, do you have a bona fide claim against me?
No.
Do you know anyone here who has a bona fide claim against me?
Get over here.
This guy goes, no.
Okay.
I'm locked in a little cell. He's just
Okay.
in the thing talking to me. He says, no. I says, then why are you holding me? He goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
I request you abide by your oath of office in defense of those constitutional protections afforded me as a matter of right, without further malversation, escorting me safely from these premises forthwith.
What was that word?
Malversation.
Conversation.
God, I just love to use the big words of them.
Gordon, did you know this stuff when you first went to prison?
Oh, heavens no, I didn't know anything. I was a year and a half in prison before somebody walked by and gave me this book called Cracking the Code, 3rd edition.
Right.
And then it was on from there. And then I got all this from just kind of practicing and learning and figuring things out. And I didn't have anybody to tell me this stuff, except God. I'm telling you it all, 7 years of learning it all is really condenses down into this simplistics. That's
Jim
what
said by whose authority over there, and you corrected him and said he should ask, he should say, I conditionally accept.
he could say by what authority. I use that too.
But even if he said by what authority, isn't he just lost in a rut? Because when you changed it, made him change it to, I conditionally accept upon blah, 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 things moved. So,
Either one's a conditional accept. By what authority? You're giving me order, I'd like to know the authority. One time I was in the hole, and before you go in the hole in Terminal Island, they process you in this little tiny cage that's, it's like about this big. And so the captain's desk sticks out right about there, and there's a bunch of other desks back where Keith is, a couple more desks, and then over there is the hallway that goes down with cells on every side, so they want to process you. So they come along and they slipped through the bar doors, the little thing, and they slip through an administrative hold, or they'll slip a rule book or some piece of paper. I always take it and shove it back. They push it like this through, and I push it back through like that. Or if they slide it under the door, I slide it back. Like they'll put you in a cell at night, and in the morning there'll be something on the cell floor. Slide it right back out. No matter if they get it, not my problem. They don't throw them out. Don't worry. They'll kick it or act like they don't care or something. No, they absolutely do.
So which door is that when you're
When you're
pushing
sliding it
Why
back?
are you
out?
doing that?
It's not conditionally
Because
accepting.
if they slip a rule book under the door and you keep the rule book, didn't you agree to abide by the rules of the
Right.
place?
Got it.
It's really cool. It's very subtle.
So it's
You don't accept any benefit.
Posted on
Well,
the
that's
wall.
what, so here's this one that they're going, I'm in this little cell, I'm going in, and slide it, I give it back, and I won't keep the administrative hold. Pretty soon there's like 8 or 9 guards out there, which is uncommon for that, and the captain's sitting there, and pretty soon I've been back and forth for hours with these guys on it, just very polite and courteous. Pretty soon one of them wants me, I said, by what authority? He said, by authority this. I said, well, he said, by authority of the captain. I said, where did the captain get his authority? The captain's sitting right there. And the guy looks at him and said, Captain, where'd you get your authority? He says, I got it from the warden. I says, where? Now, we got 8 or 9 witnesses. The captain put this show on purpose, I realized afterwards. I said, and where did the warden get his authority, Captain? He says he got it from the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I said, where did the Federal FBOP get their authority? He said, from the Department of Justice. I said, where did the Department of Justice get its authority? He said, from the president. I said, where'd the president get his authority? He just looked at me. And I said, he got it from the Constitution. And where'd the Constitution get its authority but from the people? I didn't work on it, but it's okay. He didn't know. And I said, am I not one of the people? And the captain looked at everybody and goes, he's got a point. It was just a turning lesson. It didn't get me out of there, but he's got a point. I had a lot of fun with it. They had a lot of fun with me.
Can you ask, do you need me to volunteer this information?
You could ask anything you want.
Okay.
But that, no, I don't need you to volunteer it. I can just take it from you.
Really?
So,
It gets you stumped. Do you need me to volunteer? Nah, I can take it. I don't have to be honest with you. I got to keep you from hurting yourself. I'll tell you whatever I need to tell you to give me a picture. You get your ass up against that wall, Mr. Dan the Man. Sir, you get your ass up against that wall, I'm going to taser you and force you. I got 5 guards with me. I'm sitting one time, I go into a county thing, and I'm sitting there, and they check everybody through, and pretty soon just me and 6 guards. Boom, 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 boom. I'm sitting on the bench, and I got 6 guards in front of me in a semicircle. I got the wall behind me, so... And this guy goes, all right, what's this about? Do you have a bona fide claim to hold me? He goes, we have a, this is Graham County Jail. The feds brought me over to the county jail. He says, we have a contract with FCI Safford. That's the name of the prison there. Am I a party to that contract? That just popped into my head, you know. You an attorney? No. I should have said, what do you think? But, you know, I was just practicing, just getting into it in 204.
cool.
And been studying for years, but I hadn't got to do one of these yet. So, and pretty soon it escalates along, and I'm saying, didn't you take an oath of office? Gentlemen, I said, gentlemen, did you take an oath of office? 2 of them go. I said, do you know what that oath says? 2 of them. I said, don't you think you ought to know what that oath says? They just looked at me. And pretty soon the main guy goes, you can get your ass up against that wall, or we'll taser gun you and force you. Taser you and force you. I said, are you threatening me? Oh, no, 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 no. Very interesting comment from you. And pretty soon they're going, oh, come on, man. We got to put you in a cell, man. They were like, kind of like kids. I almost started laughing. It was kind of weird. Because they went from real stern to on, come on, man, we got to put you in a cell. I eventually got up and walked back to a cell with them. I didn't know what to do or say. You know, I got stumped. So it's been lots of these practices that got me where I could get good at it, where how many cells I had to eventually go into. You know, and all sorts of unique experiences. So.
It's not true that you can say anything you like, really, because you can sure as heck get yourself into hot water.
I was being facetious when Dan said, can I say this? I said, sure, you can say that. Say whatever you want to say. You're going to suffer the penalty for it, too.
Exactly.
Yes. I was, like I said, being facetious, being
I got
little.
it. All right.
Isn't that freedom?
What's that?
Freedom is saying, doing things. And
Say whatever you like.
Suffering the
You could be silent. You can say whatever you want. I'm trying to get the point across that, yeah, you can say what you want, and you can pay for saying
Good
it.
for saying it. Yeah.
the consequence for something.
Yes, that's all. You can tell me F off if you want. You ain't going to like the response on it, but you can certainly do it. You might find yourself thrown down on the floor, your arms jacked up behind your back, and a little bit of rough treatment, if they think that's idyllic for you. One of these doctors, he's standing in a McDonald's. 60-year-old guy, got a cup of coffee in his hands. FBI come up to him. He sees him stand up there. He says, now, it was Brad that's standing holding a cup of coffee, and the FBI guy come up, because his partner's name is Bruce. He goes, Bruce? They'll do that to get you to say, no, Brad.
Right.
My name's Brad, right? And then you just gave it up. They got all sorts of little tricks. And so he said something in response to, don't you know who you're looking for, or whatever, something like that. And the officer says, put that cup of coffee down. And he asked him who he was. He said, FBI. He said, put that coffee down. And Brad just looked at him. Door 3, silent. And the guy got a little more natural. I told you to put that coffee down. And then he did it a third time, and then Brad put the coffee down. And then when they were in the prison, they were told, get their shoes off. And he didn't say anything, and they swept his feet out from under him. 60-year-old guy.
What could he have done in the McDonald's?
Different door.
What door did he go through? Door 3, silent.
So he could have
Who are you?
conditions. Okay, who are you? And then the acceptance.
What is this regarding? Right?
Does that offer acceptance right there given the jurisdiction?
Being silent?
Yes.
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 Remember, you're a debtor. Debtors never win, so they just scoop you up. You're a cattle that's not identified. It won't identify itself.
Because fighting's obvious, but an argument's obvious, but
Silence, it's uncivil. Think about being civil. It's very civil when you say, hey, get over here. And I say, I'd be happy to. Do you have a bona fide claim that requires me to? If you remember the story about the guy in Orange County at the drug halfway house, you remember me when I tell you that story and that story. That's why I try to tell you stories, so you can kind of picture it. You can put yourself in that place. What would I say? And you all can play policeman and not, so that you can get comfortable with it with responses. I'm walking along the street. Cop car pulls up and goes, hey! I'm going to look. I see it's a cop car. Is there a specific or particular issue you'd like assistance with, officer? Yeah, you seen a couple of guys running down the street here, wearing masks, carrying guns? What am I going to do? I conditionally accept your offer. I did upon proof of claim you say I saw him. No, he's just an officer wanting a little help. Be a good guy. No. Is there, if I see him, you got a card or something I can call and help? I'm walking along, he says, excuse me. Yes, how can I help you, officer? I'd like to see some identification. And who are you? Police Officer Smith. May I see some identification, Police Officer Smith? If you say, why are you stopping me? You fit the description of a guy that just robbed a liquor store. You're going to get into a thing. I didn't my issue with him. He's going to say, may I see some ID? And who are you? Officer Smith. May I see some identification, Officer Smith? His uniform and his car is ID enough for you. Are you refusing to identify yourself? Get over here. Why are you accosting me? I'll be happy to come over there. Upon condition of $100,000 paid in advance, United States dollars. Got the money? Now don't be smart about it. Got the money? I'm just going to be a nice guy. Especially if I think I'm just being rousted as a cattle. If you happen to be in a drug-infested area at 11 or midnight and you're a white boy in some black part of town, you know, a cop might be there be trying to help your ass out a little bit, you know. Because the only reason you're there is either for some nefarious activity or something, but he still has no right to do anything. Doesn't have a bit of it.
Unless you see someone harming someone else or something.
He could interfere on that basis. But otherwise, I don't care if somebody fit the description. They're always going to say, you fit the description of a guy that just robbed a liquor store. Now you're going to feel like you need to defend yourself.
Have you seen that movie? You can see it on YouTube. It's called Don't Talk to Cops. Anybody else here seen that?
I've seen it, yeah.
And what does it advocate?
There's a law professor and then a police
Yeah.
detective, and they give a lecture not to talk to cops. And the police detective says, "Would you step into a boxing ring, with the Olympic class?" He says, "Don't think I don't know how to do my job." He says, "If I get you in a room and I'm asking you questions," he said, "I'm a pro at this." And he's saying, don't try to outsmart the. He's saying, don't be overconfident when you're dealing with these people, with these situations.
That's a beautiful thing. A law professor says, don't talk to him. What does he tell you to do?
Silent.
Go silent.
Yeah, no, it's worthwhile watching. I'd be interested in your rebuttal to this.
Well, what does he say to do? Did he say to go silent?
It was probably made by the police
It says
themselves.
Don't answer questions. Don't talk.
It's great.
And what do you think of that, based on what you've
Well,
been
from
taught?
what I've heard, no. I mean, from
I can promise
That's
you.
arguing.
I can promise you. You go silent, you will suffer. Yes, Jane.
I've never seen that video, but where we are, they're teaching the kids that cops are your friends, and they teach the kids to wave to the police. I mean, one time we were dropping off a friend, and the policeman came up and stopped behind us. I'm like, okay, what do we do, right? Like, of course, we're automatically scared. Instead, he gets out of the car and goes and talks to my son and wants to show him the gun in his car, like show him the car. They want to show
They are your friends. They're our friends.
Yeah.
They're our public servants. You better talk to them. That would only be civil. What if you're my neighbor? I says, brother, how you doing? Is that civil? What if I wanted to kind of like remind you that, I see that you left the water on in the backyard. You're flooding your backyard. I'm going to walk with you. Keep the water on, dickwad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or,
The house now.
Or I saw the neighbor across the street throw a rock and break your window. I'm just here to kind of like inform you as a neighbor, and you're going to treat me like a piece of crap? Why would you treat a policeman that way? They're going to reflect your attitude. What I teach, what Brandon teaches, what Jack teaches is these people are to be loved. They're servants. And they're to be treated with respect. Are they always going to treat you with respect? No. But if they don't, they're going to pay dearly for it, aren't they? You know what's really scary about a judge? He don't rant and rave. He just calmly tells you, you're going to do 6 years, brother. He's a scary guy. You're scared. You think a policeman doesn't immediately identify you as somebody way different? Excuse me, sir. Yes, how may I help you, officer? Is there a particular specific issue you would like assistance with, officer? Yeah, I'd like to know what you're doing in this area. Who are you? Why do you want to know? Well, I'm presuming you'd like to do some business, and since you're accosting me, I'd like to know who I might need to be leaning on if I feel my rights are being violated. You think that officer's used to being talked to like that? However, if I could assist you in some way, officer, it'd be my greatest pleasure. Want to play? That's what you're saying. These people are to be respected and honored. Now, when they get out of line with the first little, you think when he doesn't pull you over, they might see some identification, like you were doing real good, Johnny. Stay calm, keep your hands up on the steering wheel or in plain sight. I got stopped one time, and I've got a pen. I'm taking the officer's name and information down. I'm holding on the pen, and the officer goes, well, could you put that pen down? I said, do you feel threatened by me holding a pen? She goes, yes, I do. I said, would it make you feel better if I put the pen down? She goes, yes. I said, well, why don't I do that for you? Then I go along further and Kevin, I picked it back up, I'm doing some more writing and stuff. It's all right, but we're very conversational. They need to identify. They're dealing with a lot of nuts out there these days. Guys just pull a gun because they're having a thing. When after some conversations going on, they're a little more calm. They're always running up. Cops are always getting killed.
Yeah.
Coming to domestic violence. These guys
They work hard.
don't have it the easiest job. On top of being somewhat having to be jaded after seeing some of the way parents treat kids, what people do to people, God, they're kind of like not in a real patient mood sometimes. And plus they're underpaid, starving. I got to go put up with this. It's a job they chose, but nonetheless, aren't we empathetic to their situation? I am. What if they mouse you around and rough you up a little bit? Oh, let's have a little fun. Let's see if you really want to do that.
Do you know much about cops training? I mean, it's interesting to know what they're told to do when they meet guys like you, for example.
Don't know, because it's new stuff that's coming out everywhere. I can't tell you what they are. I know that whatever their training is, they need to gain jurisdiction.
Yes. So on the one hand, they've got to be able to be clever enough to do that.
It's
And
a
on the
game,
other-
so you got to
on
kind
the
of get
other,
into the
they want to
game.
be treated with respect. So it's a real double
Well, you can
bind.
respectfully put a lien against them.
Yeah.
Gord, could we put somebody else in the hot seat?
Especially
Can we do some more exercises?
Well, how many people want to get a chance to practice
What do you
now
want to work on? Yeah.
before the end of the day?
Yeah. We may as well
Well, what time is
pick
that?
it. It's
You know,
2.
kind of
but-
an important thing for y'all is kind of get some concepts in, and
Yeah.
yet we can
Even if
practice
the
it
guy's
as
got
well.
something on paper now. When you're on your hot seat, at least he does something to look at.
We
Well, we
need to
can
get you all
take
the
it.
11. We got 11-page transcript
I sent it to
from
them.
Bruce Maruzik and them. You got that first one. We need to get you the second 61. I got another one waiting on the estate guy with his stuff. He said, what commonality you're going to see? That's the important thing is you're going to see offers from these guys. Remember Yane? We said what words Yane's? Some people come in and say, I'm here today as Gordon Hall, intervener, for the purpose of helping the party settle all claims or charges. Yane's husband, this isn't somebody we trained or talked to, when he'd come in, he'd say, for and on the record, I want the court to know that I come in peace. All things stated are stated without prejudice. All rights are reserved, restored, and never wavered. And then he goes on and he's got all his standard. Every time the judge said, well, he'd say, I accept for value, honor, and consideration according to House Joint Resolution 192, public policy, blah, 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 except for value the court proceedings for full settlement and closure case number so-and-so, exempt from, that's just an offer. Whatever he says, he countered back with that offer, like 30 times. So we're going to have some of that transcript of him up there doing all this. So with that 11-pager, with the 60-pager that's available from Bruce, and then Bruce will give it to you, he emailed to me, I got to forward it to you,
Okay.
and we can get it disseminated. And you'll be able to see what real-life ones are doing, and that's really kind of cool. And when you practice a little of this, don't expect, you're not going to see the same results every time. You can see all sorts of different weird things. Some police will just walk away. Some don't want to deal with it, especially if they can sense that you're just going to hold your mud. You're going to call people in, do this, do that. It's just going to get lengthy and a hassle. Sometimes they'll just press it all the way. Depends.
So do they never show you their ID?
I haven't seen them yet turn the ID over,
No.
but they're required to by law.
So why would they want then if it's a civil question?
Because they don't want to. They don't want to give you jurisdiction.
So when they
So where would
when
you, where would you have gone where I was? I mean, I gave up, obviously. Where
You
would I
caved.
take it?
Are you not required by law to
Pretty
identity?
soon you're going to say, am I under arrest? And have a nice day. Stand back so you don't get hurt when I pull out, please.
could you
I still
also
want to give you a ticket for going through a stop sign. But that doesn't.
How are they going to give a ticket when they got a license? You can give it a name.
Exactly.
Now the question is, are they going to arrest you? Are they going to make an issue? Does an officer want to risk that you know enough about commercial liens? I had a couple of them pull me, and I said, I like you to just wait for my supervisor said, if you'd like me to, it's $10,000 for 5 minutes.
right?
And then another 10, and I'm writing her name, and I got 20. She said, well, why do you have 20 written next to my name? I said, that's what you... No, I didn't. Then the supervisor, and we spent time doing that. I got 4 or 5 police cars, streets blocked off, about 30 minutes of having fun with them. You know. But still no arrest. You know, so it's just an interesting game. You'll have to try some of them, then the police in your neighborhood or area will get to know you. Or, kind of like Menard, I like what he said, you know. When he opened that bar with the marijuana and the alcohol without a license, he went down to city council and had a big notice. I'm opening a bar, I'm not required. What did they do? Okay, they agreed. And then he does it, and, you know, it's hard to say where if he actually did it. He says he did it and stuff, and I kind of believe the guy. He seems to be a reasonably honest fellow, and his words are not out of line. His delivery is a little rough and less than civil, from my point of view, but that's just an opinion, but it's not completely an error. Cop says, license and registration is apples and oranges. And that's what he says on his tape. You know. In the most direct sense, he's right.
It is confrontation.
It's a little more. I don't want you to be. I prefer that we all be civil and courteous to these guys.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they're going to get used to dealing with these sovereigns and back and forth with them and a few liens, and then when they pull one over, they'll just leave them go.
The way I see it, it's not at all humble. It's very arrogant. You know,
Well, you got to
thumb
go
in your
low to
nose-
get high.
your thumb
Remember
in your
that.
nose.
What time is it?
It's 2.
We should break for a nice lunch for you all, and then we can
come back.
go to the end of it. And we decide the end, and y'all can decide what you'd like to. The important thing is that this is a part of it. Don't get too sidetracked on it. What we want to do is get you, you know, make sure you understand that it's all contracting. Whether it's verbal, whether it's written. So what were the questions? Is it just a contract, just verbal? Not at all. contracts are shown by silence, by acts, or by science. You
Well-
go over against the wall, or you put your head up. You know, I might take him over against the wall. If he keeps his head up and his eyes open, it's his problem. It's like to me, he agreed to have his picture taken.
When the judge says go sit down, and then you just say, Judge, would it be okay if I go sit down?
Would it be all right if he says, have a seat over there. I said, would it be all right if I sat over there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
In the same spot where he wanted you to go.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, get up against the wall. Would you mind if I stood up against the wall?
I ain't going to do that with him.
Oh, I see. Oh, you're going to
With the
do
judge is a little different.
Okay.
So it's not all pat, and the judge is going to be a teens different. I walked to that courtroom, didn't I? And if I'm in there, I'm going to conduct myself civilly. I don't want to be
I see.
stupid, It's a whole different deal. So I'm not going to go, hey, he's going to say, sure, it's all right if you walk over there. Get up and I'll lift your head. It's all right if I lift my head up? Sure. You take your picture, you got a problem.
See, context is everything. And part of our problem is we don't always understand the context of the question. You do. with
Well,
the
you'll
phrase.
get it really,
though.
really quick. It's not, in a courtroom's a whole lot different setting.
So that's why sometimes we freeze, because we don't know where
Yeah.
the question's coming from. So you don't know how
Well,
to
you're
answer properly.
probably at
We'll
fault
give you-
because you didn't learn all this in less than a day. I don't understand it.
Yeah. We're a little slow.
That's why I try to tell you, please don't even get concerned about it. You're all here. It's your first exposure to it in a different kind of a way. And it's really going to come to you really quick. It doesn't take long. If you do some study and you do some looking into it and you do a little practice and you consider the little elements and principles I've given you, it'll make sense. I ask you, what door is that? You'll answer that question automatically because you know you're not going silent, you know you're not making statements explaining or justifying. You know you got one choice, I conditionally accept. And that just is learning a repertoire of conditional acceptances at work for you. It's really that easy. A policeman is only going to be so many things that you can say why, by what authority, and then pretty soon you'll branch off from that with a little more creativity. Because you're going to be comfortable and because you're going to know what you're asking. You're going to know what you're doing. Initially you won't know because it's new, it's Greek.
Well, it's interesting because you almost have to test it out or practice it or something.
Well, the picture's
because-
worth 1,000 words, so as you practice this, and you'll see it at the LA seminars, you saw it in the Chicago seminar, they're there. The stuff we just went through, you can pull the Chicago seminar up, look at it, and see what we do to some of the people there with Judge Jack and Hall, and you see Brandon get on the
Yeah.
spot, and everybody. It gets kind of interesting. And that's all it takes is a little of that, and then you picture yourself there. And then you have a cohort that you practice with. The two docs in Cincinnati practice a lot together. And it's just over and over again, memorize it, then over and over until it becomes natural that you can, that, hey, I conditionally accept your offer upon presentation of a bona fide claim. You can shorten it. You got a bona fide claim that requires me to do that.
Becomes like saying you're welcome when somebody says thank you.
Yeah. You might have some fun not saying you're welcome a few times because you're going to start thinking about what you're saying instead of just by rote that you've been brought up to think that way.
But it seems like you have to refresh yourself because you can come here and,
Have to renew your
immerse
mind,
yourself in it, and then a few months from now you're busy with work, kids, and family and stuff, and somebody pulls you over and you're like, what?
Yeah. It's not like you're living it every day and you're being.
The herd says, "Come on back to the herd.
being
It's comfortable over here. We're doing good."
He's not off. I'm going to tell you. Your friends and neighbors, family, could take a lot of umbrage at this. You know why? Because your behavior condemns theirs.
Yes.
If you make
You're
a big,
going on
if
to
you
some-
get in their face about it, especially.
Even if you don't, you got some husbands and wives that are just fearful that you're going to hurt yourselves, that you're going to cause family problems, because they're afraid of the government.
What kills a crab in a crab pot? It's the other crabs. Won't let it get out. They pull back down.
Yeah.
Yeah. The crab wants to get out, feels the heat, starts to climb, the other crabs grab it, pull it back down. They don't get out because they kill each other.
So, like in the movie The Matrix, it's the other people who suddenly turn into the police, to enforce, come on, turn into the agent or whatever,
You're not.
Agent
You're
of
going
your
to find that
slavery.
your behavior will not always be welcome. You're going to lose some friends and the rest of that. What do you think? Royalty doesn't run with slaves. It's not a pleasant thought because you lose some friends over it. You're not going to be popular talking this stuff. I got a couple of my friends say, Gordon, we like you, but all you do is you talk that stuff. You know, we'd like to have you around more, but if you're going to talk that stuff, we don't want to be around you. It's not a problem. I have a hard time being around senseless babble. I don't mind doing it periodically, but it's not what I'd like to do. I can go to a family function. I can do it without talking and stuff and all of that. It's not a problem. It's not something I want to go do much. I got things to do, places to go. Learning, I need more. And so, you're the same. This is an ongoing lifetime thing. Right around the corner is us being able to use the exemption number and our signature for money and every other thing.
Maybe.
Canadians and all, it doesn't matter. This is the way it has to be. It's not real money, it's paper. You can't say our paper's good and yours is no good. That doesn't make any sense.
It's not bad. We're not harming. We're doing good for commerce.
Yeah, but it's
You know,
that
the
line
government,
defend yourself.
the
That's tricky.
government, you think people don't understand the government has to literally try to get money back into the system after they take it all out and tax the people too. So that's why you think you got all these school loans and grants and gazillions of dollars everywhere.
Can you talk about that? Like I asked before about what you call it, the transaction account and how, when you take a loan you create a loan at the bank and you.
Well, my understanding is clear. Look at a bank. Let's look at a mortgage, for example. I talk to people. I say, where do you think your mortgage money comes from that lent for the mortgage at a bank? They say, well, the depositor's money or the government. Let's think about it. This helps you to, I kind of come at things backwards and eliminate to get my understanding and testimony of things. Okay, it's either got to come from the government, it's got to come from the depositors or some other source, right? Could it be other depositors' money? Doesn't make any sense, because if we had a bank with 100 depositors with $1 million in it each, right? There's $100 million in the bank's lending money out because they're borrowing that money from the public at some number, right? They got bank building overhead, staff, and they might be paying 0.5% or 1% or 2% on that money, or CD money back when it was 3 or 4% kind of thing. So they're borrowing that money from the public, so they got to make something work. Are they allowed to lend the public's money out? Well, if you read Walker F. Todd's affidavit, it'll tell you that it would be a violation of Federal Reserve rules. You can't lend other people's money out. That money's demand deposits, isn't it?
Yes.
Unless it's a 1 year or 2 year time CD. Well, logically, they couldn't be lending it on 30-year or 15-year home loans. That doesn't make any sense. What if those people wanted the money back? So it couldn't possibly be the depositor's money, could it? That would be theft. Walker Todd tells you that. Federal Reserve stuff tells you. And logically thinking, doesn't make any sense that that would work. So now you know it's not depositors' money, at least from my viewpoint. Would the government lend this entity money to lend to me and you? That don't make any sense. Government doesn't do that. Then it has to be something else. And the only other thing that logically makes sense is it's our signature, our promissory note that is monetized. And what's monetized? To make legal tender. It's monetized. That bank knows how to monetize it.
They have a license.
They have a license to monetize it. That's exactly what it is. They've done the filings to get a license that allows them to monetize it. And my understanding is when we put in a promissory note at the bank, it goes into some kind of call it a drawer, but a transaction account, because we have double entry
Ledger.
bookkeeping,
Ledger.
right? So they've got to balance the books always. That makes sense too. And especially in a fractional banking system and the rest of that. So if we put this note in there, then they somehow run it through some kind of a transaction account, and it comes back out the other side as a monetized instrument to be lent to us. And this gives credence to these documents that I've sent Juanita and others on how to discharge your mortgage lawfully, legally, and ethically, including but not limited to charging them with fraud and understanding why. And so when you read the documents, it helps you get there. And this is why that note goes someplace generally. What they do with it, what do we care? It seems to be passed through Wall Street, the security markets. They're bundled up in groups, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, this, that, the other thing.
Sold as bonds.
All sold as bond. Who cares? I don't really
And
care.
vaporized.
Huh?
And then vaporized.
And then often, or they got stamps by everybody, or you can't get them, or vaporized. Some of them come back, some this, some that. What does it matter? All I understand is that there's a way and a process to eliminate that mortgage. And I understand it on a contract basis. Because we've alleged fraud, we show it, we've eliminated the trustee, because we're the grantor or settler. So it helps to know a little bit about trust. I gave Juanita a trust article.
I sent it out to
It's
them.
real simple. It helps you to understand. Trusts or a trust. A property interest held by one person, called the settler or grantor, or trustee, excuse me, authorized by another person, called the grantor or settler, for the benefit of a third party, the beneficiary. And then some other trust articles are going to say, you know, the feature of it is this divided title. Equitable and legal title. And that kind of goes with that old thing of possession is 9/10 of the law. It's 9/10 of the contract. Where's the other 1/10? In the situation of a certificate of title for a car, we you know, when I went and bought this new car I have, they had me sign it, and I really blew it. I missed an opportunity to make something happen with it, because they said, we need your power of attorney to do this. I'm thinking, why would they do, you know, afterwards I said, God, I just blew it. Because I was having it financed by Honda. And so, because I'm building credit for haul-up, so I didn't want to screw that up, so I wasn't thinking of the real thing. I wonder what they would have done if I would have said, it's unnecessary to tax, you know, any license tax fees or anything. I just wanted Honda to finance it. What difference does it make? I got a feeling, because I'd asked the guy, what if I wanted the MSO? He said, we'd get sold it if you had, you know, paid for it. And I'm not so sure they wouldn't have given me the MSO even if I didn't pay for it, financed it through Honda. Because then Honda would have kept the MSO. The MSO is to register it with the state, right?
Yeah.
It's not for that. I don't think it would have mattered. So I really missed a great opportunity.
Manufacturer
State
state
of origin.
of origin.
It's referred to as an MCO or an MSO, Certificate of Origin, or MSO, sort of Statement of Origin. And it's really cool, because when I remember the guy John Matthews I told you about Safford when the Burley sheriff came. Well, he was involved in this big white-collar scam deal, not knowingly. And he worked there about 3 years and thinking doing the right thing. But the long and the short is he had bought a $90,000 fifth wheel and gotten into some of this stuff. And when he did, so when he went and bought it, he paid cash for it, and he told the seller that he wanted the MSO. And they gave him a little bit of house. He said, look, I'm not going to put it on the road. Just put the dealer plate on it, bring it over to my property. And they did that. Parked it there. Call it 6 months later, he gets indicted, and, you know, they show up 20 strong at his home and take his vet and take his car and seize his records. And they've got a seizure list and the $90,000 fifth wheels on it. And they said, where's the title? He says, I don't know. And they wouldn't take it. They left it on his property. He ended up with a 4-year sentence. 2 years after being in, the FBI returned all his file boxes, and his daughter said, Dad, the MSO's still in there. They missed it. You know, they didn't search through it. They don't care. And so the long and the short was, when he got out after doing 3.5 years, the fifth wheel was still on the property where he parked it. So I know that's valid. They need the title to it. I was at Terminal Island with another guy, contract law. He was a young bank robber. Had bought a new $850 pistol before he went in, and he robbed the bank with that. The FBI, he was in about 2 years when he got a letter from the FBI saying if he wanted to claim the gun. I said, let's claim it. And we did. I got the paperwork on it. Went through about 3 steps with it. It was off the charts beautiful, because they had never heard of a guy going to reclaim his gun. You know, you figure you're a felony, you can't. No, they sent a letter. We accepted and made a claim. I'll have to dig it out. It's really good stuff. It's really
So
good.
we shouldn't try that though, right? Tomorrow.
Yeah, once you get sure, well, when you get, remember, you try any of this. It's just offer and acceptance. Somebody says, we want to take your house. You're supposed to agree with them, God says, right? Go to the
Sure.
rules. Agree with them. You can. For $25 million in advance, Canadian dollars. Right? Or US dollars. As goofy as that counteroffer is, I don't recall that the definition of counteroffer said it had to be any particular thing. A counteroffer is a statement by the offeree, which is me, which has a legal effect of rejecting the offer. When they seize the medical marijuana guy's 90 grand figure, they send him a notice on the seizure on it.
Go to Mexico. Go into the market. Offer, counteroffer, offer, counteroffer. Going back and forth.
But you can. They're not going to keep the stuff if you do your counteroffers and stuff, and you know how to assert your rights and get your claim done. No, you don't know how right now, but that's okay. That's why you can call Juanita and Gordon and get a little assistance or this or that or whatever, till you can get pretty good at it, and you will fairly quickly. Because it's not magical stuff. You just need, and if you get enough examples, you'll be able to plagiarize and take some from that and this and that and go, oh, I know what to do with this one. I know what to do with that one. So all you need is a few examples and samples and access to somebody on the phone till you get in the swing of it. But inside of like this month, 2 months, no more than just a few months, you're going to be like, I got it. I see what I'm supposed to do. I don't always know how to say it, but I got samples to work from. Here's one on a seizure on money. Here's one on a gun. Here's one on a car. Guy's wife's mom's truck they seized. So it's just putting in there's going to be so many samples here. You know, I'm doing so many of these cases and doing it and keeping track of them. So you're going to be able to get copies of these cases. The Sue Taylor case, I got the file on it. All the stuff we did over the 5 weeks for her. They did this, we did that, they did this, we did that, then the show cause and that. There's that. And then there'll be the one for the docs. They're making a thing. And John Stewart's got me. Well, we're going to have all these nice booklet or whatever to do whatever we want with. Help you with or sell it to you or whatever we decide. So far we're not selling you anything. You have it all free on the CIC site.
Have you ever gone in as intervener for somebody totally different?
Yeah.
And that's totally legal. I'm here for John Chung.
Well, when I went to the probate case up in San Francisco, the judge saw the unique paperwork. I'm there and she knows who the dude is. All I did was stand up and say, was not the Sherman Trust matter to be heard today? She said that matter's been, legal research, blah, 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 has been put off 60 days. Would you like me to bring up the file? I said, oh, no, Your Honor. She didn't ask who I was, want anything or else or anything to that effect. In John's case, I spoke from the gallery 3 times. And the first time, totally welcome. The second time, no. The judge wanted him to do it, and I got kicked out of the courtroom.
But what if they don't know who John Chung is? And I stand
Well, I've talked to Brandon about it. We've looked at doing that, and Brandon's done it on a couple. You know, just going, and I'm here today as Juanita Chung.
Yeah, but don't I have rights because I have duties? And don't I have a duty to take care of my straw man? And if I relinquish that,
To a degree, but if the judge wants to accept me as intervener, I'm the intervener. If Juanita has, sent over the...
I'm just saying, shouldn't the judge sort of make people take responsibility for their vessel?
Yes and no. I mean, it's not up to him. It's just an offer. He's the judge. If I have the matter settled and she owes me money, she signed to me, I'm an intervener to protect my interest, because if they get a judgment and they take that, I'm not so sure that doesn't work. So, I mean, we're getting better and better at simpler and simpler things. I like to think that we're not just going to turn it all over to somebody like me to do it, but I mean, if we do, I don't mind the practice.
It's good to know I got that in my back pocket. I'd rather do
What
it.
about a power of attorney? Is that?
Well, you got to remember, Gordon Hall doesn't exist and Juanita Chung doesn't exist.
Yes.
So I'm not so sure that when we go into something that we need a power of attorney for anything.
Right.
I'm there, I say I am. What's the judge going to do? I made an offer. So we're testing some of this stuff on a lot of new things. So that gets off of just straight, strict contracts, but really takes it up to a nice, sophisticated level.
Now, it may not be necessary, but for example, when
the judge didn't want to hear you from the second or third time from the gallery,
Yes.
would he have, or she have heard you if you had power of attorney in the matter?
No.
That's perfect.
John was there, and the first time the judge didn't mind. 3 times, no admonishment whatsoever. But John is expected to handle it old as mud. And in this case, where he needs to show them he genuinely cares. You know, you don't know that he blew the guy away at the window, but because he was gunning his gun in the truck, he's responsible, in my opinion. I don't want to argue whether the wife did it or.
What about in Juanita's case, and this is obviously supposition, but in a credit card or bank mortgage or what have you? I mean, I know in BC, statutory law doesn't allow for an agent or...
I'm not there statutorily,
Yeah.
am I?
No.
I'm there as an intervener. I'm made by offer, and I have a right to protect my interests. And I'm there on one special purpose. I'm there by special appearance for one purpose. I'm laying claim here. It's a claims court. I got a claim.
What is your specific interest?
Whatever it is. If Juanita owes me money and she gave me that judgment she has against her brother, and I go in to enforce it.
So if somebody came, for example, if somebody came up to my house, my nephew could go to court.
Well, let's say somebody gave you a summons to go to court, right?
Okay.
Maybe your nephew goes to court in your stead.
Yeah. As an intervener.
As an intervener, because you're going to be there as an intervener for Pat.
Right. I see.
If John's already, or if somebody's already gone to court about 3 or 4 times, could somebody step in for them then? After still?
Sure, why not? You're
Okay.
whoever you say you are, right?
Huh.
And
we're going to test that, so, it's going to be curious to go in there if I'm, Linda Smith, intervener. I'm here today as Linda Smith, intervener.
And would he have to declare what his interest was? I mean, it could be...
By saying intervener, you have declared your
You have
interest.
declared. It doesn't have to be specific.
Intervener is defined as a
Third party.
A third party who
Yes.
comes into a suit to protect one's own interests.
But he doesn't have to define that interest
Private
by
contract.
saying he's a beneficiary and...
No.
Okay.
He just made an offer. What the judge can do, argue it? I can't say go in for you, but
Yeah, sure.
we're going to find out.
Right.
Because I'm thinking that, we have to be able to know some of this stuff ourselves. We can't just have people do it for us.
Exactly.
Otherwise, guys, dope dealers will go out and do dope murder and just hire guys like me to handle the whole matter.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
So I don't know yet whether it is or isn't, so.